Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 163 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Nick, Joey, and Ben. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great, feeling tired after staying to watch that end of the OKC game right then.
Yeah. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Let's get into it.
That's right, our first official podcast of the regular season. Of course, we were not able to record this past Monday. I was down in Dayton, so I was unavailable, but we are here, and oh my goodness, so much has happened. We just, as Joey said, we just had an NBA Finals rematch go to double overtime. Every team has played in at least one game or is currently playing one right now, as the Denver Nuggets are playing against the Golden State Warriors right now. So we're going to mention some things from each game and break down our favorite moments of the season so far, as we are officially back for year 3 of the podcast here for the regular season. So excited to get things going, but let's start things off with our first Pirtle of the regular season. Ben, what player should we start off with for Pirtle?
The player will be Zach LaVine. Put a bit.
Zach LaVine. All right,
All right.
go with
Year 3. Let's get it in 3 or less.
Let's try it. All right, not a bad first guess. Is going to be a 6'4" or 6'3" guard in the East that's 31 or 32 years old that wears a very small jersey number. We should definitely be able to get this pretty soon here, at least you'd think. An older guard in the East.
KCC is no longer in the East.
No, and this looks like it's going to be a point guard.
What about how old's Gary Trent?
Gary Trent, not sure how old, but what number does he wear? I think he wears a double digit. Or no, he wears a number 5. So that might be right. At least I think he wears the number 5. I can't remember what
I thought he was a single digit.
Yeah, I think he might be number 5, so that could be correct. There's also Jordan Clarkson, who's now on the Knicks.
Double-0.
I feel like you think he's 6'4"?
Yeah, which would work for this. Who else? What other?
Those guesses.
What about
Let's
Terry
see.
Rozier?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he might just be 6'1", though.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Though. So okay, we have Terry Rozier, we have Gary Trent, and Jordan Clarkson. All right, out of those 3, who do we want to try to guess for this?
I like Clarkson because we're not sure. I'm not sure how tall Trent is or what number he wears.
I agree. Clarkson's a safer bet, probably.
All right, let's go with him. Jordan Clarkson. Oh, no good. A former Knick. That is, so up from 00. So is this going to be
No, never mind. Sorry.
0 or 1? Is that going to be how this works?
Is
I'm not sure
listed
exactly.
at 6'3"?
I don't think he's on it. He's not on a team.
Oh, I thought he was on Milwaukee.
No. He was on the Pacers, but they released him before the season. Okay, a former Knick, not in the Atlantic Division. That is, let's see, 0 or 1, I guess?
Quickly's not that old.
No. Former Knick.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with this one.
Landry
I feel like we
Shaman's back on the Knicks.
Yeah, he is back on the Knicks. I don't think DeLon Wright's another guy that was on the Pacers but then got waived. Former New York Knick. Why that should be like a dead giveaway, I feel like.
Jeremy Lin.
Linsanity.
Insanity. Let's see. I'm going to go through each of these teams here. So it's not going to be the it's not going to be the Raptors, Sixers, Knicks, Celtics, or Nets.
Yeah.
Celtics or Nets. Okay. Man, Chicago Bulls. Former Knicks.
Celtics?
It can't be in that division.
Oh.
It's not Charlotte because it's not LaMelo or Miles Bridges. Washington.
Let's see, Ben. You have any ideas here? Former Knicks in the East.
I can't really think of anything. This is hard.
I think we can definitely get this in 3. We just got to lock in on this
Right.
player.
Yeah.
Boy, this is tricky.
It's like Atlanta point guard. It's just Trae Young. Detroit. There's Cade, Marcus Sasser, Jay Ivey, Cleveland. No.
Former
former
Nick.
Knicks. No former Knicks there. Gosh, is it Washington Wizards? Lost Joey there for a second there. What the heck? Former New York Knick. This is crazy. How? I feel like this should be coming to mind. Like I'll put in Delon Wright and see if it does. His name does come up. He is a former Knick, and he was on the Pacers. I don't think he's on a team right now, as now we lose Joey for a little bit. We want to try Delon Wright.
Yeah.
Former Knick.
I can't think of anyone else.
What?
On Indy.
What?
You said Campaign was on Indy?
We just watched the Pacers.
I guess he still technically, because Delon Wright's not on the roster. Cameron Payne shouldn't be on the roster. He's going to be up there though. This is going to be Cameron Payne. Yeah.
Wow.
Cameron Payne, although he's literally not on the roster. Pirtle trying to trick us here on the first regular season edition of Pirtle. But we did end up getting Cameron Payne in 4 tries. But now let's get into the regular season so far, because, guys, there's so much to talk about here. I guess the first thing we should go to here is the defending champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder, playing in back-to-back double overtime games to begin the season. First time that has ever happened in NBA history, going into double OT with the Houston Rockets on opening night, and then with the Indiana Pacers here tonight in an NBA Finals rematch. Let's start off with this Pacers game since we just watched it here live. Ben, what are some of your main takeaways from seeing the Thunder pull out these 2 close victories, and especially this Pacers game in Indiana?
Well, Alexander, he just goes to show you both of those games that he's just still one of the best players in the world, and that he just knows how to come up clutch in the big games, and he did that in both of the Thunder's first 2 games, and he really had to be the main one with the ball doing that, especially if no Jalen Williams in both of those games to start the year for the Thunder. But yeah, that'll be a nice help. That'll make the Thunder even better when they get Chain Dumb back. And the Thunder, they just, they're resilient. They know how to win now. They were defending champs last year, so I wasn't too surprised when those games went in, the 2 overtimes, that they were able to find ways to close it out. They, just get down what they have to do now.
Yeah, Nick, that's definitely true. SGA has definitely been the difference here. A career-high 55 in this Pacers game, 15 for 31 from the field, 23 for 26 from the foul line. I mean, on a Thunder team that is without J-Dub right now with injury, Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe all out for this game. Besides getting, some strong performances from A.J. Mitchell and Aaron Wiggins in this game, I mean, he was the singular offense, and he was able to lead them to back-to-back double overtime victories.
Yeah, like you said, Ben, without Jalen Williams, Caruso is also out. Topic is out. They don't have a full healthy roster coming into the year, and Shea's really making up. He's really pulling the slack for the whole team. 55, like we talked about how the first half of this game was really ugly and really muddy, and it was 54 to 47 at the half, and it ends in the 140 to 130 range. And I think Shea did it on 31 shots, just continuously being aggressive, relentlessly attacking the rim, and making good decisions when you get there and staying balanced. It was really, really good vintage Shea tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, 90 points through the first 2 games of the season, 35 against Houston on opening night, then 55 in this Pacers game. Joey, how about from the Pacers side of things? This was the Pacers' first game of the season, and we were all very interested to see how the Pacers would look to start the season. Of course, no Tyrese Halliburton for the season. Andrew Nembhard, the new starting point guard, some a lack of consistent center play. But in this game, I mean, they played very, very hard. Of course, you knew they were going to come out very hard in this game with it being a finals rematch. What were your thoughts on how the Indiana Pacers were able to take the Thunder to 2 overtimes with all the adversity they were facing throughout the game?
Yeah, just a crazy game in general. But as ugly as the game was, Pacers played really well. Siakam was really good. Unfortunately for who was it? You said Nembhard got hurt, so he couldn't really come back in the game and help them out in the overtime, in the end of the game. But Siakam and Ben Math just absolutely lighting it up and helping them take it to 2 overtimes. Like, it really comes down to those two guys just kind of on some big shots from Jarris Walker. Shepherd hit a big shot. They were getting just bits from everybody, but Ben Math and Siakam were the 2 big standouts for me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So just an incredible game here from Indiana. But now let's go back to opening night where they played the Houston Rockets. Of course, the Thunder get their championship rings, which looked awesome, by the way. Those things looked incredible. And then facing off against the Houston Rockets with Kevin Durant, former Thunder great, in his first game for the Rockets. And, Nick, this is a Rockets team that's looking to be a championship contender this season. No Fred VanVleet. We were talking all throughout the preseason. Who are they going to start at the point guard spot? How is that all going to work? They end up going big with Amen Thompson at the point guard spot, Steven Adams with Durant, Şengün, and Jabari Smith. And it looked pretty good out there. What did you think of how the Rockets looked on opening night?
Yeah, I thought it looked good for opening night, but definitely has the potential to get to an even higher level when Amen really gets more comfortable handling the ball and being the lead attack guy of their offense, because he was much like Shea in their first game against the Rockets, like relentlessly, like I said, attacking the rim. Amen was doing a great job of getting into the paint and making things happen for his teammates around him and also scoring the rock as well. But Jabari Smith Jr. also had a great game. He hit some big shots late in this one. And yeah, I thought the Rockets looked really good. Their size is going to be hard to compete with for a lot of teams. It's going to give them a lot of fits. But for opening night against the defending champs on ring night, like it was a good start to the season for the Rockets for sure.
Yeah, Ben, it was an incredible game, and both teams played very, very well. But I'd say the player of the game for that one was Alperen Şengün for the Rockets. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. He had 39, 11, and 7, hitting 5 threes, 10 for 11 from the free throw line. I mean, Ben, this Rockets team is so good defensively. If he's going to make that sort of jump offensively to where he's going to be an efficient jump shooter, then the sky's the limit for this Rockets team.
Yeah, it was obviously just the first game, and he had a great first game. We'll see if he keeps doing stuff like that, but man, the Rockets will be a dangerous and scary team that could compete in the West, that's for sure. Şengün can keep having games like that. And boy, what impressed me most about Şengün that just surprised me was he made 5 3-pointers in that game. I was like, wait, what? What's going on? He didn't make a whole lot last year, and he was just making them against the defending champs, and I just couldn't believe that when I was watching. Şengün, phenomenal. I was really impressed with him, and yeah, the Rockets fell just short in overtime, but they played pretty well. They had some good things to take away from that game. The one thing I would have liked more from Houston in that game is that I think they should have given it to Durant, given him the basketball a bit more later on in the game.
It's exactly what I was about to say. I'm like, if I have any criticism, even though it is just opening night, coming down the stretch at the end of the game, if he could have beat the KD, there's a good chance that he could have put it away before getting to overtimes. But that's just something that it's opening night. They'll get used to it. Amin Thompson will get better at the point guard. They're just figuring it out. But outside of that, really good game.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to go to next. It's like Şengün definitely had the hot hand, but Kevin Durant making his debut for the Rockets, he played a very solid game, I thought, Nick, on the shots that he got. But he only got 16 shot attempts in 47 minutes, and he didn't really get a whole lot of looks down the stretch of the game. What did you think of the Rockets' offense down the stretch?
Yeah, not great. I remember there was the one possession where they brought the double team and left LP wide open on the wing, and LP was able to get an easy drive to the rim. But other than that, like, that was a gift from OKC's miscue. Like, without Thompson in there, he didn't play either of the overtime periods, presumably because he can't shoot. And they had
well, it was because he had an injury or something.
Oh,
it was
really?
it was cramps or something. I don't remember the exact injury, but
right. I forgot. Yep.
Well, that's why he wasn't playing.
And then Durant ended up fouling out too, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah, so he fouled out on the last play where the Rockets are up by 1 on the final possession. Shea has the ball going to work against Durant, and he's given KD all the moves in the bag, and Durant was playing great defense until he bit on a shot fake and sent Shea to the line to hit the game-winning free throws with like 2 seconds to go.
Yeah. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of LP just going one-on-one and making it happen for them. And the overtimes without Thompson out there and the lack of like a really good ball handler who's a creator guy first, the way Thompson is, I think it wasn't great. They missed some free throws that could have put them away at the end. That was another huge factor, just missing easy ones. And then Reed Shepherd obviously was not great on the defensive end, but he didn't make an impact on the other side of the floor either in those overtime periods. So he was kind of a double negative for them.
I was just about to ask him. Like, I think they might have to trade for a point guard because, as I think Amin Thompson will grow into that role to be the starting point guard throughout the year, but they don't got a backup. And Reed Shepherd, again, it's only one game, but I don't know, man. He might not have it.
Well, that's the thing. That's something that is important to mention, and we've mentioned it before, but it is just one game, so you don't want to go too crazy with the overreactions. But it is always fun it is a little fun to overreact to some of these things. I think, Reed Shepherd. I mean, it is his second year in the league. You could essentially call it his first year in the league. You could say he redshirted last year. This is going to be his first time getting a chance to play. And for a lot of these teams that have a hope of winning a championship, there are a lot of young guys with pressure to grow into certain roles here. We're going to get to it in some games going on, or with some other games that took place so far to start the season. But for the Rockets, like, Amin Thompson is going to have to get used to being a starting point guard. Reed Shepherd, is going to have to get used to being a shooting backup point guard on a contending Rockets team. And I think that, they'll grow into those, roles. I think Thompson was good. He was being very aggressive. The 0 for 7 from 3 is expected. I'm glad he took the 7, but at the same time, like, that's, the 3-point shooting is definitely going to be, something to watch for as expected with this team, because Ben, like we're previewing with the Rockets, their big question is the shooting. And although you get 5 threes from Şengün, if you take those away, Rockets were, 6 for 31 from downtown. And you can't expect Alperen Şengün to go 5 for 8 from 3 in every game.
Right. It's hard to expect that every game. And yeah, overall, they're going to have to figure it out with shooting. Dorian Finney-Smith, I know he was out for that first game against the Thunder. I think when they get him back in the lineup, he can shoot it, knock down some threes. I guess that'll help the 3-point shooting a bit when he comes back. But overall, not looking the best, their 3-point shooting, and they're at to figure all that out. But they got plenty of time to figure it out, and we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, all things together, Rockets played a very good game. They were up double digits in the third quarter before Shea took over the game, and again, the game ended on that Shea, against Durant getting to the free throw line. So it was right there for the taking for the Rockets, starting the season 0-1. But just an incredible first 2 games of the season for the Thunder here. Those 2 games might end up being the 2 best games of the year by the time we get to, April. And, we got them in the first, 3 days of the season. So just absolutely incredible. But let's move on to some of these other games. Let's go to the game that occurred after the Thunder Rockets game, the Warriors and the Lakers, a game that was, very highly anticipated because they're 2 teams that, I think we all have kind of in the same tier of the Western Conference, but not entirely sure what to expect from them going forward. So, Joey, let's start off with you. Where do you want to start off with this Warriors-Lakers game that the Warriors ended up pulling out?
Well, we all know I'm a big fan of the Lakers, so I will start off by talking about the poorness of quality from the Lakers. Luka was fantastic, no doubt about that. I have him on fantasy. He was my top pick and got me like 90-something fantasy points, so hurrah for Luka. But the rest of them got to step up. A-Reeves got to do a little more, especially, but DeAndre Ayton, I don't know about y'all, but he was bad. Like bad. Like a clone out there.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. He wasn't good. Marcus Smart was bad. Like, defensively, he was getting torched by Steph. Yeah, it was just bad. I absolutely agree. I mean, Nick, from this game, Luka had 43 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. But like Joey said, everyone else didn't really have that great of a game, or in Reeves' case, it took him until the 4th quarter to actually start to get going. He finished with 26, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, but it didn't go to the 4th quarter where he really had an impact.
Well, this is the story of the Lakers. Their roster is not great after their very top-heavy 2 guys. We've known that it's a top-heavy roster, and Ayton was a question mark coming in. After that, you lost DFS, who might have been your best player off the bench last year. I think Rui was scoreless in the first half of this one and then put up 10 points in the second. So you're going to need more than that when LeBron is out. Who else are you looking for? Like Gabe Vincent going off in the preseason. He had 3 points in this one. I think AR was a decently bright spot just in the scoring category, but there's not a whole lot of answers in LA for the Lakers.
Yeah, Ben, something that, we'll go to the Warriors side of things here, who, played a very solid game. Their defense was very good. Like, it was very difficult for the Lakers to score in this game, besides Luka. Luka had 43 of the 109 Laker points. It was very hard for them to score.
Yeah. Part of that, though, was because I think there wasn't a whole lot of scoring threats outside of Luka that the Warriors had to worry about. And Luka, obviously, he had a super good game. And then, Reeves, he did some scoring. He had some good scoring. That does surprise me. But, just seemed like with the way everyone else outside of those 2 guys offensively for the Lakers, it's just like, man, they don't seem too hard for the Warriors to stop. They didn't seem like much of an offensive threat, and the Lakers gotta figure out some other guys can just somehow step up and get some sort of scoring going here with the LeBron for the first few weeks to start the season. And overall, I still think the Warriors are pretty good team right now. I was kind of low on those as the 9th seed in my season predictions, but I was pleased with the way they played in that game. I thought Jimmy Butler did a great job of being aggressive, and he had a big game. I was impressed with Jimmy Butler. Steph Curry had 23 points. He didn't have his best game, but he had some big shots to help put the game away. So that was big for Steph Curry. And Kuminga, I noticed they decided to put him in the starting lineup. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And Kuminga actually did solid. He did all right. So that was a good side I saw too for the Warriors.
Yeah, after a brutal start for Kuminga, that did not start off well, but he ended up having a pretty good statistical game. The Warriors, yeah, I mean, Jimmy Butler with 31 points got to the line a bunch. Curry had a great game. They got 5 threes off the bench from Buddy Hield. Curry had 3 threes, including the big dagger at the end of the game when the Lakers were trying to make a run. And the Warriors right now are in their home opener against the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets in their season opener. Just want to mention, so the Warriors started up 10-0. They scored the first 10 points in the first 2 minutes. Now they're down 70-61 at halftime. And Aaron Gordon at halftime for Denver has 25 points, and he is 7 for 7 from 3. This does not look real. This does not look real. I can't wait to see the highlights after we're done recording.
We're on day 3 of the 25-26 NBA season, and things are weird already.
This is without even mentioning. I was going to say, I know we already talked about the Thunder, the 2 double overtime games to start the year.
Well,
yeah, every other game has been insane.
This is the perfect segue for the national news.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to get into that right now? The national news here.
Continue with the craziness that's going on.
Who has a good enough grip on the story to explain it?
Yeah, I don't really either. But we got to talk about it. It came out Thursday morning that a group of 30 people, some unnamed, some named, were arrested for, essentially, gambling and sport and illegal sports betting, with some people within the mafia, It's an incredible news story. And the 3 names that I saw were Terry Rozier, that we already knew about before, Damon Jones, former assistant coach and NBA player, and Chauncey Billups, head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, former, great NBA Finals MVP. Let's get into this.
He was inducted in the Hall of Fame last October.
Yeah, Hall of Famer. So, Joey, I guess, what were your reactions to all this madness?
Well, I saw a little bit what Shams was saying on ESPN, and I think what he was saying was that Rozier was involved in a lot of the prop bets, and I saw some people clips. It's like, man, he really made that obvious, because there's like a clip of Terry Rozier basically just passing it right to the Cavaliers defense in a game. And it's just like, yeah. But the Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones just straight up with the mafia, dealing with the inside poker game, that's crazier than I ever would have expected. That doesn't shock me, because these guys are all multi-millionaires, and they probably get bored with their money. But it's just shocking that it's come out like this.
Yeah, Ben, what are your overall thoughts on these reports and investigations?
I was shocked that it came out that those guys got arrested right after their first games. I was like, what? How did they not find this out before the season started? That was interesting, but well, here we are, and Chauncey Billups is technically the first head coach not on a team anymore right away going into the season after gambling, and Thiago Splitter's gonna take him as their interim, which is interesting.
Shout out Thiago Splitter.
Yeah, I get why some of these professional athletes, not just in the NBA but in other leagues recently, have been, gambling, and just doesn't really make any sense to me. I mean, I think it's been more legalized in places recently, but doesn't mean athletes should just go doing it. They shouldn't. They gotta avoid it, and now it's just costing some people's careers now because they got into it, and it's kind of sad for them.
Yeah, no question. It's not smart at the end of the day, and honestly, there really isn't a whole lot much more to say than we just got to see what the results from these investigations are, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, it is crazy though with Chauncey Billups, and we'll obviously get to the Trailblazers because they lost a close game. They played a very good game against the Timberwolves there, but just it changes the entire complexion of their season now with their head coach, gone after the first game. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but we'll get to that in due time. For now, let's segue over to, we've had some incredible games so far from teams and just the closeness of it. Let's talk about the incredibleness from an individual, an alien in Victor Wembanyama. Oh my goodness. This Spurs-Mavericks game, which I thought the Mavericks were going to pull out here. I thought this was going to be one of the better games. Was just completely destroyed by Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. Wemby had 40 points and 15 rebounds in less than 30 minutes. He didn't turn the ball over once. He only made one three-pointer, which is huge. He was getting to the basket at will, and he was just unbelievable. I mean, Nick, it's laughable, some of the plays he was making in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely laughable. I mean, I was working out with a couple of my guys this morning before school, and I'm like, did you guys see these highlights or whatnot? And we're watching the highlights, and we're laughing that it's even possible because, like, he's 7'5", 6", whatever, and he gets a pump fake and gets PJ Washington off his feet, and then he goes from 7'5", 7'6" to about he shrinks. He gets so low to the ground to push off and attack the rim that he can be a step inside the 3-point line. He'll pump fake and just take one dribble, reverse slam, and one. It was unbelievable. We were laughing.
Yeah, I mean, the play that I kept going crazy on, I mean, there was like 3 straight possessions where he had a block or a steal, and the one where he just completely rejected Derek Lively's shot, then goes down the other end and does a bunch of crossovers between the legs, behind the back, into a step-back 3 and 1 for a 4-point play. I mean, it's crazy.
Anthony Davis, who is one of the best two-way players.
Yeah, listen, like, I had the Mavericks winning this game. I can't remember. So we all do a pick'em league with with some of our friends in a group of 12 people. Who had the Mavs and who had the Spurs winning the game?
I had the Mavs.
I had the Spurs.
Okay, so Joy was the only one that picked the Spurs, and I picked the Mavs because I thought that their huge front court was like, it was going to have a problem against the Spurs because it was only going to be Wemby. And then, Wemby is making Anthony Davis look like a rookie. Like, he's making all of these terrific defenders, they don't have any answers because there is no answers for when a guy is making plays like that. I mean, it was everything. It was dunks. It was fadeaway mid-rangers. There was the 1-3. He was getting to the free throw line. I mean, this was an absolutely incredible performance by Victor Wembanyama in this game to completely dominate the Mavericks. They ended up winning the game by 33 and holding the Mavericks to being the only team so far this season to not hit triple digits.
Yeah, like you said, in the pick'em, out of the 13 people that do it, there was only 4 of us that had the Spurs winning. Like, they were clearly the underdogs.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy there. In the final, I believe, 27 minutes and 18 seconds of the game, Spurs outscored the Mavs 80-44. It was a complete domination. And, of course, Wemby was the star guy. But don't want to forget about Stephon Castle, who had a great game, 22.7 boards, 6 assists. He was great. And then Dylan Harper, in his NBA debut, looked very, very good for the Spurs, the number 2 overall pick.
I will say, but right before we get off Wemby, I do have, and I'll sprinkle them in throughout the show, but I have a couple of my favorite overreactions. But with Wemby, it's only one game, but after starting the preseason odds at plus 1,400 for the MVP, Wemby will finish as a top 3 finalist for MVP voting at the end of the year.
Shoot, I'm convinced already. I feel like because I do not. This is not the only game he's going to do this. Like this is an everyday show that this guy
he's
brings.
One-on-one. He's one-on-one.
And this is probably the best chance to slow him down because, like you said, Dallas has all the big guys to try to switch it up, and they couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, and then conversely, the Mavericks, they looked bad in the second half, especially, and it was because Wemby was making them look bad. But the Spurs were playing very good defense as well. But the Mavericks, decided to go a little bold here. They didn't start a point guard. They started Cooper Flag at point guard. Got to talk about Cooper Flag, the number 1 overall pick, in his highly anticipated debut. Really struggled in this game. Did have 10 rebounds, finished with 10 points, was only 4 for 13 from the field, didn't get his first basket until the third quarter. Nearly got his first bucket right off the rip on an alley-oop. That would have been crazy, on the fast break. But Ben Cooper Flag ended up having a pretty bad game, and you could tell that the Mavericks were struggling mightily without a ball handler, and because of that, they just weren't getting, great looks on the offensive end. And it doesn't help when you're going up against the Spurs defense being anchored by Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, you're right, Miles. The Mavs offense, especially in the second half, struggled. And yeah, they need to knock down more perimeter shots going forward. They need to figure out how they can handle the ball better, as he said. And Cooper Flag, that was just his first game. I wouldn't really overreact and panic on him. Yeah, it wasn't great, and I think he'll get his ball handling and scoring better, which I think you guys obviously think that too. And, I'm thinking Mavericks, just going forward, need to keep experimenting with this stuff. They have some good depth, and something isn't working out right. Well, they might need to make a change. Like maybe if this tall lineup thing isn't working the best, they may need to go with like starting D'Angelo Russell at point guard, and I think they should try to get D'Angelo Russell more out there at point guard than they did against the Spurs because Russell, he can make some good passes. He can distribute well and give you some solid scoring, and he's a good vet that's been around for a while. But yeah, definitely wasn't the start the Mavs seemed to have wanted, but I believe they could bounce back.
Yeah, Nick, what do you think the Mavericks should do in this situation? Of course, you want to experiment with Cooper Flag because he can do so many different things, but you're obviously putting a lot of pressure on him to be the point guard when, that's just not his natural position, and there are guys that could play that role. Do you think that they should make a switch up in that starting lineup to get a point guard in there?
Not yet. They're talking about Kyrie coming back January, February, sort of. So, um, I could see them doing that later on, to sort of transition Coop into playing more off the ball again and getting more used to that, getting those reads at the NBA level, more so than facilitating and manufacturing. But one thing I will say is Dallas's offense looked better. Like the only times it looked good was D'Lo was facilitating. D'Lo played really well, I thought, versus um, the Spurs in the at least the first half. And when he was out there, their offense was better.
Yeah, and even Ryan Nembhard, Andrew Nembhard's brother, got a lot of minutes there in the second half. He ended up with 5 assists to lead their team. Joe, even I'm looking at this box score. Their starting lineup had 6 assists in their starting lineup. Derek Lively had 3 of the assists, and he only played 10 minutes in the game. Like, that's just not going to cut it for this offense.
I agree. Yeah, I think I agree with Ben. I think they need to switch it to D'Angelo. Well, I agree with Ben and Charles Barkley because I think Charles was saying that on the broadcast or during halftime and at the end of the game. He was saying they need to start D'Lo, but yeah, I think that would help a lot. It would definitely get Cooper Flag used to playing with Kyrie, similar kind of esque player, just much better than D'Lo, obviously. But I don't know. Something's got to change with that Dallas team, and I don't know. I just don't see it right now.
Yep, so definitely a great start for the Spurs, rough start for the Mavericks. So we'll see how the Mavericks can bounce back, of course, just after one game. Now let's shift over to the Eastern Conference. In the battle between the East, the beasts of the East on paper, the Knicks and the Cavaliers playing in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks came up with a 8-point victory at home against the Cavs. Both of these teams were missing key players. No Darius Garland, no Max Strus, no DeAndre Hunter for the Cavs, no Josh Hart, and no Mitchell Robinson for the New York Knicks. Joey, what were your, obviously we're all Cavs fans here. Where do you want to start off with this game?
Yeah, we talked a little bit in the pre-pod lobby about our thoughts on the Cavs. So I guess I'll start with the Knicks. The Knicks looked really good. Jalen Brunson. Looks like he hasn't changed. He is still the leader of that team, getting everybody involved. OG played really well. Cat played pretty well. They just dominated the Cavs on the boards. That's the one that, even without Mitchell Robinson, because that's the thing. When you think of the Knicks and doing really well on the offensive rebounds and just rebounding in general, it's usually Mitchell Robinson is the main contributor. And Josh Hart getting a lot of those long ones and with his hustle. They were out hustling the Cavs. They all played great. Mike Brown utilized his bench. He had played 11 or 12 of the guys in the first half. He was going through those guys. He was so happy to use his bench and much needed. They all played pretty well. I liked a lot of them. Even Kolick, whatever his name, played a lot of really good backup, getting everybody the ball and just running that offense pretty well. I thought the Knicks looked really good, even without a couple of those key guys.
Yeah, Nick, I think that's the big takeaway on the Knicks side of things, is that the supporting cast played really well. I mean, overall, the Cavs did a great job guarding Brunson and Towns when they weren't fouling them, sending to the free throw line. But, I mean, combined, Towns and Brunson were 10 for 30 from the field and 2 for 13 from three. So, overall, they did a good job on those guys. But it didn't matter because OG Anunoby had 24 points and 14 rebounds. Mikal Bridges had 16. Deuce McBride, 15 off the bench. I mean, they got the play from their supporting guys.
Yeah, I'm sure the Knicks fans are loving that because it's probably refreshing after going through a Thibodeau stint over the last couple of years where you're not playing those bench guys much at all. The only time the Cavs took a little bit of control in this one was right out of the gate in the second half when I'm sure Kenny lit him up in the locker room and let him know that we'd be talking about them on Tuesday night about their effort and getting outplayed and out hustled if they didn't pick it up. So Donovan came out and had 21 in the third and really led the charge to get us back in the game. But overall, I mean, without three starters for the Cavs, coming back from 15 against the projected number one seed in the conference and making it a game all the way until the final buzzer you can find the silver lining in that. But at the same time, I'm always like a glass half empty guy, and I would also be, you got to have the perspective that the Knicks were without Robinson and Hart too, so they weren't at full strength. So you're going to get a better version of them in the future as well.
Yeah, Ben, on the Cavs side of things, rebounding was definitely the key thing to watch. I thought, they fouled three-point shooters a lot as well. But overall, I mean, they didn't play a terrible game. What were your thoughts on particularly Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell? This was really the first game of this new Cavs offense with Evan Mobley being the focal point, him being a lot more aggressive. What did you see out of Mobley in that game?
Overall, I really liked what I saw out of Mobley in that game. He was pretty aggressive. He scored 22 points, something like that. And, yeah, it was great to see just once again the Cavs wanted to give Mobley the ball and him being aggressive. That's exactly what we need to be doing with Evan Mobley. He's such a huge key for the Cavs this year, how the Cavs are going to do, like I said before the season. And the Cavs just got to keep feeding Mobley that basketball and we kept being aggressive. And Donovan Mitchell, too. especially in that third quarter. Wow, he really came out offensively. He still looks great offensively as usual, and I'm not too worried with Donovan Mitchell and his offensive game. And I know he wants it badly this year for the Cavs. I know he really wants to win a championship, so I expect Donovan Mitchell to keep bringing it. And yeah, Jared Allen, he had a stinker, and Tyson struggled. Didn't help that some guys struggled in this game for the Cavs, but it's just game one. I believe they can hopefully figure things out and bounce back, and they play the Nets in their next game. Well, that'll be a good opportunity to do that since the Nets are young and rebuilding. And I'm not too worried about the Cavs. I still think the Cavs are a great basketball team, and we're down multiple key guys, and that made it hard. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what the Cavs do still after this game.
Yeah, I like what I saw from some of the role players. I mean, Jalen Tyson getting the start there with DeAndre Hunter out. He's someone that, Cavs fans are going to have to give a little grace. This is going to be his first time getting rotational minutes, so you're going to have to give him, we'll go through some learning pains or growing pains, with a young guy like that. But Sam Merrill, very good, 19 points, 5 threes. I thought he played very well defensively. Same with Dean Wade. Lonzo Ball had his moments. Larry Nance Jr., Tyrese Proctor, very good as well. So both teams went deep into their bench and, got some solid performances. So I'll be interested, for these two teams. They don't play again until Christmas Day in the Garden, so that'll be a good kind of litmus test to see, where the two teams are at that point of the season. But those were definitely the top 4 or 5 games there of the first couple of days, all the national games, which says the league has been doing a great job with their national games. They have cooked with all 5 and now 6 matchups with the Nuggets and Warriors close in the third quarter. We'll go through quickly some of these other games. Let's go to the 76ers and the Celtics with the Sixers backcourt of the future going crazy, Nick. Tyrese Maxey with 40 points. VJ Edgecombe in his first game has 34 points, the most points in an NBA debut since Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, my goodness, those two guys were incredible for the Sixers.
I mean, yeah, the knock on Edgecombe coming into the draft was unsure of his 3-point ability. I mean, he's a freak athlete. It's easy to see his ability to impact the game on both ends from like a slashing and defensive block standpoint and all that stuff. But the knock was the 3-point thing, and he had 5 threes yesterday. So very impressive a debut for him. I'll share this with the listeners. Like I was at a D1 college practice at Kent State today, and a lot of these coaches they start their practices with film sessions, and he was one of the guys that was pointed out at the beginning of the practice. So definitely doing something right.
It's only one game, but VJ Edgecombe is going to win Rookie of the Year. That is my overreaction for this game. But I don't know. Based off of how Cooper Flagg had his debut and how VJ Edgecombe had his debut, completely different situations, asking to be asked different things by their teams, different roles. But, man, VJ Edgecombe looked electric.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, if you are to overreact about something with the 76ers, what would you lean more towards? Would you lean towards being way more excited that VJ Edgecombe and Maxey played like this as the backcourt, or more concerned that Joel Embiid had 4 points, 1 basket in 20 minutes and didn't close the game?
Mine would be more concerned with Joel Embiid. Like, what was going on with him? I thought he would have been trying harder than how he did, and he just put up a stinker. Like, I don't know what was going on with him. It just seemed like to me, from what I saw, he just was putting up a whole lot of effort in that game, and that concerns me with him going forward. Maybe he'll bounce back. Maybe there's some things he's trying to get used to again and get back in the routine again. He'll figure it out. But yeah, that was concerning. He's they even though VGFkim stepped up, he looked really good too, along with Maxey in that backcourt. I mean, Joel Embiid's supposed to still be like your best player here. And I could be overreacting here, but I'm concerned about it. That was just the first game, but I'm worried about will he be able to bring it still. Is he actually gonna get back to where he was now? We'll have to see. That's a big question mark going forward with them.
Yeah, for sure. So the Sixers pull out a close victory against the Boston Celtics, who got 25 points each from Jaylen Brown and Derek White there. So close victory there for the Sixers, led by their backcourt. The rest of these games in the East, there were 5 other games in the East. I'll go through a note from each of the game, and you guys tell me what most interests you about these 5 games. So the Heat and the Magic played. The Magic got a nice come from behind victory against Miami. Jalen Suggs actually played in this game. He came back, played in the game, 16 minutes, was 6 for 7 from the field. But Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Desmond Bane all scored 23 to 24 points, taking 17 to 18 shots. So the shot distribution was pretty even there. The Charlotte Hornets blew out the Brooklyn Nets. 9 of the 10 players for the Hornets that played scored in double figures. They put up 136 against the Nets. The Atlanta Hawks gave up 138 points to the Toronto Raptors and got blown out by 20. The Bulls beat the Pistons in a shocking turn of events. And then the Bucks beat the Washington Wizards. And Chris Middleton's return to Milwaukee. Middleton had 23 points. Giannis had 37, 14, and 5 to begin the season. Joey, any notes from any of those games that you want to talk about?
I got a couple overreactions here, and I want to get your reactions on them. The Charlotte Hornets will have a top 5 offense, but a bottom 5 defense in the league this year. Because their offense looked electric. But how many points did they allow to the Brooklyn Nets?
117 to the Nets.
Like, they're going to win a decent amount of games purely off their offense, but at least what I saw from their defense, they need to put a little more effort.
LaMelo's efficiency will never have them as a top half efficiency team, offensive efficiency team.
No, you don't think so?
Him alone tanks them below 15 teams at least.
No, that was definitely an electric one. But what are your other reactions?
Unfortunately, it's only one game, but we were all wrong about the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks will disappoint everybody again. We all had high hopes years ago for the DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. Last year, they showed promise and with the young guys, and they have a great offseason, and then they allow 138 points to the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, not a very good start for the Atlanta Hawks, who were, we're all pretty high on the podcast. And I think everyone universally, even if you don't think that the Hawks are going to be, a great team in the East, they had, one of the best off seasons in the league. So this was just very shocking that they gave up 138 to the Raptors. It was a very impressive performance, obviously, by Toronto. But, it is just one game, and I think the Hawks will get better. But that was not a good start at all. At home, too, bad start for Atlanta.
Very bad start.
I got to see more before I'm ready to get that overreaction.
I agree. But yeah, Ben, any thoughts from any of these other Eastern Conference games?
Yeah, I have some thoughts with the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, boy, they were bad defensively against the Raptors. I was not too impressed with them defensively, and I thought they would have been better. The Hawks, to me, just showed a lack of effort at times defensively, where they were letting the Raptors get out of transitions. What I saw and heard, and it's just not a very good effort defensively. Offensively, they put up some points. They weren't as bad there, but the Hawks, they did acquire multiple new guys that are supposed to, be key pieces to help elevate them this year, and I'm thinking there is still some chemistry stuff they're trying to figure out with everybody, and I believe they can hopefully get more of that figured out. But yeah, I wasn't very impressed with them, and what else I gotta say here is well, the Heat Magic game, there were more points put up than I expected, and
Yeah.
I was happy to see Jalen Suggs play and Storm and Norman Powell looks like he could be getting off to a hot start again this year. He was playing pretty well offensively for Miami. He was a big part of what kept them in the game all throughout. He had 28 points. I think Norman Powell's going to be a fantastic addition for the Heat. I love what I saw from him. Bam looked good. I think Bam could be more focused. They have a pretty good year this year. And the Magic, I mean, it shouldn't too bad against the Heat. I like their balance offensively. So, yeah, I could take away some pretty good positive stuff for both of those teams out of that game.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I have something from the Pistons Bulls game. I mean, the Bulls, they're a fun team to watch. That no matter what game, they are very fun to watch. They don't have the craziest names, or at least yet. I know we're big Modest Buzelis fans, but they're a very fun team to watch, and they blitzed the Pistons early. It took until the fourth quarter for the Pistons to get going there to make it close until the Bulls were able to pull it out there. But something to watch with the Pistons to begin this season. I know their big question is 3-point shooting, which was showed in this game. They were 7 for 24 from 3. But another one is, with Jaden Ivey out once again to begin this season, and they also were without Marcus Sasser, their backup point guard. Cade Cunningham was the only player that you could trust to dribble the basketball and create offense for this Pistons team. And because of that, they had some just lineups with no shot creation, and their offense was just bad. Cade Cunningham had 23, 7, and 10, 8 for 24 from the field, 6 for 10 from the free throw line. He was also defended by Isaac Okoro, who is if he's great at anything, he's great at perimeter defense on those types of players. Tobias Harris was 4 for 12. Jalen Duren got into foul trouble. I mean, the Pistons needed Isaiah Stewart to go for 20 and 10 off the bench to even stand a chance in this game down the stretch. So that's going to be something to watch with Detroit going forward here to start the season, is that, if Cade Cunningham is going to be the only ball handler, how else are they going to create offense? And if they're going to be giving up 28 and 14 to Vucevic, 21 to Buzelis, 19 to Giddey. I mean, they got to figure out their defense too. I mean, I know it ended up being a close game, but the Pistons have a lot to figure out.
Oh, yeah.
That's what JB's getting paid the big bucks for.
Yeah, sure he is. But now let's get to the other Western Conference games. There were 4 West games on Wednesday. The Pelicans blew a double-digit lead to the Grizzlies as Ja Morant had 35 points after we thought he'd be out to start the season. He had 35. Jaren Jackson had 6 blocks in the game. They defeated Zion and the Pelicans. The Phoenix Suns came back to defeat the Sacramento Kings after the Kings were up by 20 in the third quarter. Devin Booker had a big fourth quarter to defeat the Kings. The Minnesota Timberwolves defeated the Portland Trail Blazers off a huge fourth quarter from Anthony Edwards, hitting a lot of big shots to hold off the Trail Blazers in a big-time game for them. And then the Utah Jazz annihilated the LA Clippers. So where do we want, Joey, where do you want to go with those 4 games?
It's only one game, y'all. But the LA Clippers will be a play-in team. We all had them as a guaranteed playoff team. I'm telling you, put him at the 8, 9, 10 spot in this Western Conference after that showing.
Yeah, shoot, I'll one up that one. It's only one game, but the Utah Jazz are the 1 seed.
Yeah.
they looked great. Like, they looked incredible. The court looked great, the jerseys looked great, and the performance was even better. I mean, Ben, this is the most shocking performance so far this season. I mean, the Jazz had 91 points like 5 minutes into the third quarter, and were up by as many as 37. I mean, the Clippers just looked flat out confused and asleep for a large part of this game. I mean, this was about the worst start you could possibly have if you're the Clippers, even though it's only one game.
Yeah, it's just one game, but boy, that was bad for the Clippers. Not good at all. I was just shocked by how bad they were playing. They just didn't seem as motivated as the Jazz in that game. They weren't being aggressive enough. It's just so much was going wrong, and thought Ty Lue and the team would have been more ready to go, and they just didn't look very prepared at all. Maybe it had something to do with their preparation. Maybe they were too confident or something, knowing that the Jazz were a young rebuilding team or something going into this game, and learned, well, you gotta take everybody seriously or something. Maybe that's the problem after what I saw. Could be. We'll have to see. But yeah, Kawhi only had 10 points. Harden had 15 points. It's just shocking. Those guys barely scored any points against the Jazz. Zubac, I mean, he got up to 19 points. He wasn't too bad offensively.
What did Bradley Beal have in his debut?
Bradley Beal had 5 points.
5 points.
Ugh, not very good.
Now, what about the other center?
Bradley Beal get his scoring up there on the Clippers to bounce back from his time on the Suns. And really, for the Jazz, I was really impressed with Walker Kessler. Wow, he had a great game. And Lauri Markkanen scored it well, too, and also played pretty well. Maybe the Jazz will just have a hot start this year.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about the Utah Jazz, though? I remember this, not to this extent, but a very similar thing happening 3 years ago in 2022. The Utah Jazz, do you guys remember who they blew out on opening night? The Denver Nuggets, who won the NBA Finals on opening night. This was the first game for the Jazz after trading Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and everyone thought they'd be the worst team in the league. They destroyed the Denver Nuggets on opening night, and the Nuggets obviously went on to win the final. So this is why the NBA is the greatest game, because you could have a thing like this happen, and the Clippers could still go on and, do special things. But it's just crazy how the league works, because this same thing happened to a contender 3 years ago.
Well, Jazz are the Cinderella of October basketball.
Yeah, literally. But any other wait, Joey, what'd you say?
I was gonna say put Walker Kessler in the 3-point contest, going 7 for 7 from the field, including 2 threes. That's the biggest shock to me. Like, I want to talk all about this Utah. Like, Sensabaugh had a great game. Walter Clayton was the best rookie on that team. He played great off the bench, 10, 6, and 5. But Walker Kessler, man, didn't know he extended his range like that.
Yeah, it was definitely something else. But yeah, I mean, from these other games, Anthony Edwards just did, a lot of great things for the Timberwolves. They were definitely in danger of losing to the Trailblazers. I love the Trailblazers team, as I've talked about before. But with this Chauncey Billups situation, how do you think this could change their season? I mean, this is a very unique situation where you go through training camp, with one coach ready to go into a season where, the Trailblazers are going to have expectations to try to make a postseason run. I mean, they're a very good young team that has potential. I know I'm a big fan of them. But now, after one game, you got to switch, your head coach. Now it's going to be Tiago Splitter. Like you said, Joe, he's never been a head coach before. He's been a good assistant for the Nets, the Rockets, and now the Trailblazers in his first year. I mean, Joey, how do you think this could impact, Portland's season?
Huge. They played a great game yesterday in the first game on Wednesday, and going against the Timberwolves, who made it the Western Conference Finals in the last 2 years. Like, Portland, after that game, probably had a whole lot of confidence that just got completely sucked out of the building as soon as the FBI showed up on Chauncey Billups' doorstep in the morning. Yeah, it's. I think they were going to be competitive based off of last night and the hype we've been giving them. I thought they would be competitive this year, possibly sneak into a play-in, but I definitely in Tiago we trust. I guess that's all I can say. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this is something that will derail their season. I mean, I think they'll still be good. I mean, they'll still have the same system. It's just a different guy that's calling the shots. But it is definitely a big deal.
It's still just a distraction that they're going to be dealing with this now. Like, every question they're going to be asked from the media. All the players are going to be like, hey, how are you dealing without Coach Billups? It's like, well, we have still the same staff. Like, not much has changed, but that off-the-field stuff can definitely affect a lot of these young guys and a lot of their mentality and the way they're going to play the game.
Yeah, that's where I think the veterans are going to be so important now for the Trailblazers. I mean, even though Dame's not playing, he's going to be huge in this. Drew Holiday's going to be huge. I mean, it gets forgotten because this guy, is in and out of the lineup. But Jeremy Grant had 29 points off the bench in that game. He's still, good. He's still someone that can perform and give the Trailblazers some offensive punch, if they need it. So I think that they'll be able to withstand the stretch. It's not going to be easy. But I think they'll be able to get through it.
Agreed.
The last thing here before we get out of here, I guess for Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, of course, he had 41 points. How many did he had 10 in the fourth quarter, didn't miss a shot in the fourth. He had to do a huge kind of carry job late in order for them to pick up the victory. But there, you see some of the things that I've been worried about with that team, particularly with the point guard spot. Mike Conley. It goes to the bench. They're going with DiVincenzo as their starting point guard. He wasn't great. And the thing that I took away from this game with their bench, of course, they're not a very deep team, but for backup guard minutes, they went to Mike Conley. They played Jalen Clark, but they went to Bones Highland before Rob Dillingham. Rob Dillingham didn't play in this game when the Timberwolves were searching for point guard minutes. I mean, this is something, Ben, that is kind of alarming. If you think about it, they're a team that we've been talking about it. They're looking for that starting point guard of the future, and their 8th overall pick from 2024, didn't play in a game where Bones Highland and Jalen Clark are playing over him. That's not good.
Yeah, I would say something has to be going wrong behind the scenes, if I had to guess, somewhere where that ended up happening. And Bones Highland, I mean, he still has some potential. He still is young. Maybe he could be something eventually for the Timberwolves at point guard. But if you're the Timberwolves, you drafted Rob Dillingham overall in the draft before this year, and you really got to hope he turns into something. I mean, he has had great potential, and that's just a concern that, he didn't even want to play him at all against the Trailblazers, so who knows what's going on with that.
Absolutely. But there's a look at all the games that have happened so far. Of course, this Nuggets-Warriors game is still going on. Under 8 minutes to go. Aaron Gordon update, 39 points, 13 for 16 from the field, 9 for 10 from 3.
Oh, my. Whoa.
Lord.
He's going absurd. He's going absurd, folks. But that's just the craziness of the NBA so far. So great to have it back. And thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.